Hello, everybody, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for Monday, the 8th of June. I've got my calendar, my wall calendar here beside me, and I put everything on it, all the times I'm not going to be in the office this month of June, and it's like most of it. So I'm just was feeling kind of overwhelmed by how busy I am, thinking about all that has to happen. Camp has to happen, all the things in July, and the feeling that there's just not enough hours in the day, and sort of, I get to the point where you almost hyperventilate. You ever been there where you're just sort of like, you're so overwhelmed by everything that you can't breathe? And I was looking at my shelf thinking, okay, what can I talk about today? And this book, I've talked about it before, but not in a while, by Stephen Cottrell. He's the Archbishop of York. A little book called Do Nothing to Change Your Life, Discovering What Happens When You Stop, which ironically, I started reading the day before I hurt my ankle in January. But one of the pieces I've marked here I'd like to share with you. He's talking about being in a school with a bunch of teenagers where he's been invited to give a talk. And he says suddenly one is aware what you say and what to do. If there's time to analyze it or even prepare it more carefully, it wouldn't have the same power. So I stood up and found myself saying something like this. We live in a crazy, frantic world. Our world is full of movement and noise. Even this morning, the few hours since you woke up, you've probably filled your time with the radio, the TV, the computer, the PlayStation. You've probably phoned someone and texted half a dozen others. As you got dressed, washed, showered, ate your breakfast, came to school, noise and busyness have been accompanying your every move. I believe many of the world's problems are caused by our inability to sit still and to be quiet and to reflect. I believe that in this season of Lent, we should try to give up being so frantic, and we should take on some moments of stillness. Then I stopped as if I'd lost my thread. Actually, it felt as if the thread were being handed to me inch by inch, and even I was not aware of what was at the end. And I said to them, hey, you don't know what I'm talking about, so let me give you a demonstration. Let me show you what I mean. This is what I'm suggesting that you do each day in Lent for exactly 1 minute. It will change your life. I then picked up a chair, placed it in the center of the stage, and slowly and carefully sat down upon it, with my feet slightly apart and my back straight, my hands resting gently on my knees. And for a minute I sat still. I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. I wasn't even consciously praying. I was just sitting there, breathing deeply. And I thought about my breathing. And then when I reckoned the minute was over, I stood up. But before I could say my next bit, there was a huge spontaneous round of applause. Now, I'd done lots of assemblies in that school. On many occasions, I had slaved over what I would do or say to capture the imaginations of these young people. But I had never had a response like this. In fact, in the days that followed, I was stopped on the street on several occasions by parents who told me that their child had come home and told them about the priest who took assembly and just sat on the stage in silence for a minute, and then suggested they might do the same thing. Because when the applause died down, that's what I said. I just suggested that sitting still, being silently attentive to things deep within ourselves and things beyond ourselves, could make a difference. You didn't need to call it prayer. You didn't need to call it anything, because it would be in these moments of stillness, sedulous stillness, that God could be discovered. Sometimes, quite often, when I preach, especially now that I'm often preaching with no notes, and doesn't mean I'm not prepared, it just means I got no notes. And there are times when I preach and I think, oh, I just learned something. It's not coming from me. It's coming from the Holy Spirit. It's coming from God. But it's reminding me that there is more out there than what in here, or even in here. There's all this knowledge. There's all this wonder out there. And when I'm too busy, when I'm so running around trying to figure out all the things, I'm not paying attention to anything but what's in here and what's in here. I'm not paying attention to all that's out there. So I'm going to take my own advice here. And as soon as I'm done, I hit stop on this recording, I'm going to stop and take a minute and just be still. And not necessarily pray, just be still. And I'd like to invite you to do that today. Maybe right now, stop watching the video. Don't do that. Wait till it's done. But stop watching the video. Take some time throughout your day. If you feel like you're getting overwhelmed or your mind is racing, stop. What is 1 minute going to do? What harm will taking 1 minute do? Because what it might do is it might actually save you many minutes because you calm down and you can see things differently when you calm down. And that's a powerful gift. So I pray that you take a minute, just a minute, to sit still, to be comfortable, breathe, pray if you wish. Just allow yourself to be present, knowing that not everything that's up here and in here is what you need. Sometimes we need all that's out there that we can't hear, we can't pay attention to until we stop listening to this and all the nattering that goes on between them. And allow ourselves to listen to the peace, the presence, the word of the Lord that speaks to us in the stillness. Have a good minute. Have a good day. I'll see you again tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachel.